year unpaved. So they're racing on a track that was familiar to them from a couple of years before. Nigel Mansell running a very high groove right
here comes Lyondike. Lyondike very much reminiscent of his pass of Bobby Rahal to win the Indy 500. Lyondike just dusted young Brayton off, and now here comes Nigel Mansell. So both of them just that quick, and as Bobby Unser suggested, on the entry to the corner.
He slid clear out into the grate, Paul. I don't know if we all got that or not, but Lyondike went down there and he slid right out of the grate, had to soft pedal it, and it looked like he was going to get past again in the short chute for a little while there.
So a change at the top of the order, and very quickly. Let's update on Lyondike Dash.
Paul, the radio went out to Lyondike. We're okay on fuel. Turn it back and go for it.
Ari Lyondike was reporting earlier, Jack Arute, that he was having trouble when running in traffic. Have they been able to correct that yet?
They are still chasing that problem, Paul, but so far they've made minor adjustments. They don't want to do too much because, as Bobby Unser has said, the track continues to change.
Riding with the leader, Mario Andretti now. His fastest lap thus far at 213 miles an hour. His last lap at 209. You can see the skies have turned leaden overhead. But still, no report from the blimp of a hint of rain.
Weather from our position, Paul, still looks good. I don't see any problem. I can't see anything getting any darker over here. It's kind of light off to the west, and that's what we want.
Mario Andretti out by the pool at the Speedway Motel the other day wearing his reading glasses in public for the first time. I think he's realized that it's, after his Phoenix win, it's okay to be old now, as long as you're still fast, which demonstrably he is.
Mansell still chases Lyondike. Unser Jr. separates them from the leader. And now, look at this game of cat and mouse as Mansell and Lyondike battle going into turn one and coming toward Bobby.
Now remember, Mansell's car's not been bothered in the wind. We've watched him race. We've watched him up close to people. He's moving up on Lyondike right now, so I don't think the air disturbance is going to bother him, but Lyondike will worry about it, Paul.
Bobby, Mansell seems to be running an awfully high line off these turns. The latter part of the turn, he's pushing right into the gray stuff. That's right underneath you.
As I said just a bit ago, Sam, Mansell's car's handling and the racetrack has gone back to more of a normal now, which means that the fluids that the guys have lost, oil, water, and etc., is soaking in. And the track's really looking like it more towards the start of the race now.
Paul Tracy hit the wall earlier. Now he's with Jerry Punch.
And he hit it awfully hard, Paul. Paul, a tough afternoon for you.
Well, we're out there running pretty good, and I was trying to get by Brayton, and we went side by side down the straight and went into three together, and he clipped my front wheel with his back tire, and just it knocked the front wheel out of alignment and went me straight up in the wall. I feel like for the crew and all the sponsors, Marlboro Racing. It's a tough day. We were running good, and we'll be back at Milwaukee.
You hit awfully hard. You got some marks on the uniform here. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. I got some marks, and I'd say the biggest thing that's hurt is my ego. So we'll be back next week, and we've been out testing Milwaukee, and I think we're ready to go there.
Paul Tracy.
Of course, ABC Sports will be there too. The Miller Genuine Draft 200 next week at Milwaukee on the famous Milwaukee Mile. You got a glimpse there, Bobby Unser, of how the two did get together. And I guess my question, Bobby, would be, what about Brayton's car?
Well, it was in the rear. The rears on these cars are a whole lot stronger than the front. Paul Tracy got touched with Brayton by where his car's really weak. And it only takes just a fraction. Like Danny Sullivan was thinking that something happened to his. It only takes a fraction to throw them out at more than 200 miles an hour. They just zapple right into the walls.
Back watching the battle for third place, Ari Lyondike is just ahead of Nigel Mansell as you ride with Nigel. When you see the in-car like this, condensation you see is not rain, not moisture from the air. More often than not, it's a blowback from the car in front of them. Might be a speck of oil or something as they run up through the gears. So as yet, no rain that is a real concern. The second place runner is Al Unser Jr. There is a concern in that pit for how many tires he will need before the end of the race, Gary Gerald.
was a concern, Paul. The key word now, there is no longer a concern. You see this? A fresh sticker, brand new tires have just been rolled out. They got one more set from Goodyear. They've got 3 fresh sets now ready to go. They're not scrubbed. That'll give them maximum adhesion. Rick Gallis is very happy that they just got this stack of tires.
But earlier there is Nigel Mansell as he gets Ari Luyendyk for 3rd place. And now Mansell has an opportunity to look ahead to Al Unser Jr. That's slower traffic just ahead. And Nigel takes care of it with no problem whatsoever.
Well, you know, seeing him carve up the field like this, you'd think he's kind of a hot-headed guy, but he really isn't. He's extremely deliberate personally. He puts his gloves in one place, his equipment bag in another place in the truck. Everything has to be in order so that his mind is organized so that he can do this kind of thing out on the racetrack.
Sam, it's amazing how much I've watched him grow up or learn or get smarter during the course of this race, and this race is only a little bit more than halfway old. The guy's capable of learning faster than anybody I've seen in a long time.
Well, Bobby, we understood that in comparison with Alain Prost, who has taken over Nigel's seat on the Williams team in Formula One, Patrick Head, the engineer there, offered this comparison. He said, Nigel is very accommodating. He'll put up with anything. Whereas Prost is very finicky and has to everything just a certain way. And Nigel can put up with anything.
As we ride with Nigel now, we can go back and take a look. This was a few laps ago. That's Ari Luyendyk just in front. And this is the pass as both of them looking ahead to slower traffic.
See, when Ari threw that block on Nigel, it slowed him up going in. And that's why Nigel, who saw what happened, was able to pick him up coming out of the turn. A neat bit of driving by both men.
Here it is again, different view.
And if you notice, Paul, that's right across the short chute. Like we said, that probably would happen earlier. Slow down going into the turn, accelerate across the short chute, and that's exactly how he got that one done.
So Nigel lost his Ari Luyendyk lost his momentum, and Nigel took advantage of it. Nigel seems very conscious of momentum and keeping your speed up on this giant speedway 2.5 miles around.
Well, also momentum in terms of his career. Here he is, the defender
on this giant speedway 2.5 miles around.
Well, also momentum in terms of his career. Here he is, the defending world champion. Here we're looking at the
this
radar.
Is the radar, the weather radar on board the blimp.
Yeah.
Of course, we don't know what direction it's pointed, but we assume it is pointed to the west, and all you can see is ground clutter. So no radar measurable rain from the blimp. So for the time being, we're safe here, Bobby.
Paul, I'd just like to report that your weatherman at turn 2 has been right so far. We still can't see any rain, and it looks lighter.
I think you've got a future, Bobby.
So Bobby Unser doubles as a weatherman in his position in turn 2. We'll return with more of the Indy 500 after this message and a word from our ABC station. We're back live at the Indianapolis 500 on the backstretch. This is the battle on the racetrack, and it's a fight for second place. Nigel Mansell closing on the defending champion, Al Unser Jr.
You know, Paul, as I watch him when he comes through turn 2, Nigel can get to little Al, but he can't seem to work past him. Now, another thing in mind, at the Ford, Nigel Mansell, the one behind, number 3 car, that's a Louth and a Chevy. So we can see that the engines have come out to be relatively well matched during the race.
That fight's heading for you now, Bobby.
They're coming through here, and both of them are in identically the same grooves. I'll bet they don't miss it over 6 inches, Paul. So I kind of think maybe Nigel is not really trying hard past little Al, but possibly just learning from him.
Nigel has learned the lesson of staying stuck on the back of the car in front of him. Looking at the telemetry coming out of Al Unser Jr.'s car. Speed, RPMs, throttle. Watch the throttle especially.
Yes, and also, Paul, keep in mind that all of these cars here have 2 racing gears. You have a high gear and a low gear, or a cruise gear and a passing gear or racing gear.
Look at the disparity between the straightaway speed of 230 mile an hour and the turn speed of down here at 190 and change. It's been years since we've seen the drivers back off in the turns. They've been taking the turns flat out. Not so this year.
And Sam, today we actually get down in the turn where we are in turn 2. We can hear them backing off. We can actually hear them feathering some of the engine.
Nigel closing to the inside, Bobby, as he tries to get alongside Little Al, but the slower traffic prevents that from happening. Little Al used it very well.
That's one of those deals where the camera's going out backwards, but believe me, the traffic is what got him right there.
Little Al, of course, highly motivated. It's very much in his mind as you see Nigel rip past a couple of slower cars, and we ride with Nigel, seeing Little Al right ahead of him there. Little Al very motivated by the idea that the last person to win back-to-back Indy 500s was his dad back in 1970 and 71. He alone, of course, in the race this year as the defending champion has the opportunity to do that.
Keeping track of other drivers in the field. Eddie Cheever now runs 18th. He was part of that drama on the last day of qualifying here that pushed Bobby Rahal out of the field. And Lynn St. James, last year's Rookie of the Year, now runs in 20th position.
Remember that these two drivers tangled at Long Beach just a few weeks ago. So Nigel, that was a case of Little Al trying to pass Nigel. But I think Nigel knows that this is a man not to be fooled with, especially when you're taking turns at almost 200 miles an hour.
And Sam, these guys are professionals. Grudges don't go to the racetracks. They get a bit mad at each other off the tracks and when they happen, but it'll never happen here by these two guys.
Continuing to watch the battle for second place, Unser Jr. and Nigel Mansell, the defending champion and the reigning world champion.
And Paul, as I watch them going through by us, I think that it's
Roberto Guerrero in trouble in the pits. He was in and out for a stop. He was running in 5th place and stalled. Crew member Falls trying to get him going again. He appears to be okay, and he's still not up to speed. Remember when this cost Roberto Guerrero the Indy 500?
And it looks like it's the same type of problem. It looks like he doesn't have a clutch, Paul. And if you don't have one, you can't put the clutch in, rev the engine up, get turbo pressure, and then take off. And that's the reason you see him taking off as slow as he is.
Nigel Mansell again looking for position on Al Unser Jr. Let's go to Jack.
Paul, look for a minor wing adjustment change during this stop for Nigel Mansell. He says he wants a half turn taken out of the wing. He will be coming in approximately 2 laps. His teammate Mario Andretti likewise will be pitting within that window. He says he wants no changes.
You know, as I watch Little Al and Mansell running right there on the screen, Paul, it reminds me of two guys that are really not going to make a big, super issue out of second place right now, because I think they're both in their cruise gears, and they're just letting it go like that. If Mansell wanted to go by, he would shift the gear. Little Al had enough time. Here comes Little Al in now. But he would shift his gears and go faster, too.
So Al Unser Jr. on the pit road from second place, making his stop. He rolls in. We watch for changes on the car. Fuel rolls in. Nobody's touched a wing yet. Front wings remain in position. And it doesn't look like they're going to do anything to the rear either. They clear the coolers on the front of the car, make sure that no wax paper or debris has gotten in there that might affect the cooling of the car and cause it to overheat. And we have yellow. As Mario Andretti comes in, 2 cars together on the track. The first time we've had contact between 2 today, the yellow flag comes out.
Jeff Andretti on the right in that. You can see him on the left here, who of course had that terrible accident here last year, so we're very concerned about Jeff Andretti. He was in a big accident here last year. This is his first race, having spent a year in rehabilitation.
The other car appears to be Roberto Guerrero, who remember was just in the pits. And that's Roberto being helped out of the car. Mario Andretti, the leader of the race, in and out just as the yellow came on.